Welcome to Central Georgia Focus. I'm your host today, Fareeha Abrar. Now, March is Women's History Month, and the 2025 theme is Moving Forward Together, Women Educating and Inspiring Generations. And this year's theme reflects women dedicated to education and mentorship. Today, we talk to a couple of women who are empowering others to lead successfully healthy lives. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
So I'm joined by Dr. Barbara Rowan, the president of Career Women's Network, and Ms. Charmaine Turner, who's the founder of Exalting Wellness Coaching and Consulting. Thank you so much for joining us today, you both. So if you could both tell me a little bit about your roles, what you guys do, take it away.
Okay, well, thank you again for having me. My name is Charmaine Turner. I am a certified life coach and wellness strategist. I am very passionate about helping to educate, encourage, and empower women, everyone, but I have a soft spot for women, to live their healthiest lives for the rest of their lives. So I go into workplaces, organizations, churches, schools, and I help to basically educate, the employees there, the staff, leadership, all of those things, helping them to live healthier. And then I also have a soft spot for my veterans, as I am a veteran. And so I volunteer a lot of time supporting them as well with their transition and different health issues that are specific to us.
Thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
And Barbara, what about you?
Yes, so I am here today. I'm Dr. Barbara Rowan, and I am here today representing the Career Women's Network of Macon. I am the president this year of that organization, and we are an organization that works together to provide professional development for women, but also to empower women. So we love to bring in younger professional women to mentor and to help them with their professional development and networking as well as an organization. We also, I know we'll talk a lot more about some of our events and some of our activities, but we really do want to provide professional development and networking opportunities for all of the women in Middle Georgia, and we'd love to welcome any of you who would like to come join our organization.
Love that.
Yes, definitely.
Just for the ladies.
Oh yes, just for women.
Just for the ladies.
We are just for women.
So you guys were telling us a little bit about your journeys through entrepreneurship and the military. Now, Dr. Rowan, you're the professor and entrepreneur with the unique skill of understanding the brain. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Well, so yes, I was trying to make that a little bit more clear. I am an entrepreneur. I do own All Things Research, which in my organization I work with schools, educational companies to help measure learning in unique ways. I work with assessment and measurement. And so the part of the brain that I really focus on is really measuring learning. And so in all learners, so not just children, not just school settings, but also adult learners, corporations. I have a lot of clients that are corporations that want to start any sort of educational program for their workers as well. So learning in all settings.
So the organizations that you guys have support women in their careers and businesses. Now, tell us a little bit about Career Women's Network, the resources, and how Exalting Wellness also has resources.
So Career Women's Network is an organization that started in about 1981. It was a group of women who were part of the Chamber of Commerce who felt like they weren't getting exactly what they needed from the chamber, and so they started an organization just for women who could help women, who could help empower women, who could help newly professional women come together and become entrepreneurs, start their businesses, or climb those ladders that they were having maybe some difficulty climbing on their own. And so we've worked since 1980 to do that as well. I know climate's changed, the business world has changed. In some ways it's easier for women, in other ways it's harder for women, but there's always barriers, and our organization still works to tear down those barriers for women.
And Exalting Wellness, the resources with that.
We have monthly meetings, and part of the focus of our program is to in fact bring in speakers, people just like you, for example, to actually help our members learn how to better balance that work home life and to better care for our mental health and our physical health. So our programming focuses on a lot of things, but one of our main focuses is really how to care for ourselves and how to take care of our mental health.
Because self-care is self-love, right?
Exactly.
Now,
I like that, yes.
This year's Women's History Month theme addresses inspiring future generations. Ladies, how do we prepare girls, women to feel confident and inspired to pursue their dreams?
I think that it starts with us as a mother, maybe a grandmother. They're watching us. They're watching everything that we do. And unfortunately, as women, many times we are people pleasers and we give. We're constantly pouring. So we have to remember that the way that we're living is teaching our daughters. And so, for instance, I have a 9-year-old daughter, and just give an example, she made a little book for me for Mother's Day last year. And it was all these things about mom. And then at the very end, she had me standing at a podium, holding a microphone, saying in the little bubble, "You have to be healthy." And so I love that, because I was like, she knows what I do, and she sees me living. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about me. And I love that we're here together talking about the brain. But she watches me. She emulates me. I'm the example for her. So as mothers, if we don't take care of ourselves, our children are watching. If they watch us living a life that self-care is important, I tell her at 9, you need self-care too. She says, I just need me time. I love that. Take your me time. So we have to be the example. We are influencing future generations. This is a legacy that we're leaving for them. So we have to be very intentional about how we live.
You have to play into that role model effect, right?
Absolutely.
So when we want to help prepare women, right, CWN has a program for women ages 25 and older. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. We offer a scholarship program every year, and the scholarships are fairly generous, and they are open to women who are 25 and older. We want to help the non-traditional age woman go either back to school or go to school for the first time to earn a bachelor's degree, because you really need a degree these days in order to pursue your professional dreams. And so we give away, last year we awarded 7 scholarships to women in the Middle Georgia area. Yes, so the deadline is every year, February 28th. And any women, you do not have to be a member of CWN. Any woman 25 and older who wishes to apply for it is eligible to apply.
Love that. So ladies, if you're listening and you're thinking about going back to school, this is your place, right?
Yes.
So what are some of the most common challenges women business owners and those pursuing their careers often experience?
I would say first and foremost is that balance, just like she was talking about. Many women, this is something that they're doing alongside of a traditional job. So you're taking care of home and family and kids, and then you're going to work every day. And then you take whatever little tidbits you have left and you pour that into your business or trying to build that business. And that's hard, because you're sacrificing yourself. That's really what you're doing. You're not getting your rest. Many times you're not taking care of yourself. And so that imbalance is very tricky. And as science and research will show, if you're not getting your sleep, that increased different risk of different health issues. We need to be aware of those things so that we have that balance. You still want to have time for your kids and your spouse and all of those things. So that imbalance is very hard, I think, for so many women. And that's why sometimes we push it off. We push it off for years. You had this dream when you were 30 and life was lifing and you didn't get to it. And then you're 40. And then maybe it's like, oh, maybe I won't get to that. And I hate to see women put those dreams off, because I'd like to say you can have it all. When you have strategy and systems in place, you absolutely can. What are your thoughts on it?
So one of the other things that I think is this feeling that we don't belong in the room or we don't belong at the table. And so everything you said is true, but it's also that added lack of confidence, maybe that we can't do it because maybe we don't belong there. And that was definitely, when I started my business, that was definitely something I had to overcome, was that idea that I don't belong. I don't belong at that table. I don't belong in that room. Well, yes, I do. I have every bit as much right to be at that table as anyone else who's sitting there. And that's something that's hard for women in general to face and to deal with and to come to that same conclusion.
Finding a seat at the table, making a space at the
Yes,
table even
exactly.
sometimes, right?
Making your own table.
Making your own table,
If
even more
necessary,
creative,
absolutely.
right? So how important is networking and finding someone to share ideas with and have support to this role, to this journey of becoming the woman that you want to be?
It's absolutely crucial. And that's where an organization like Career Women's Network is so important for professional women to come together. That's exactly why it was founded. It was founded because women in the chamber at that time were not getting what they needed in terms of networking and professional development. And they saw that and they recognized that, and they formed this organization, and it's still what we're doing today in providing opportunities for networking. It's also what we're providing. We have an event coming up in April where we're working with Wesleyan College to provide a networking event for their students, for their leadership lab students, because their students want opportunities to learn how to network. They don't feel like they know how to network, and they want an opportunity to learn and practice networking. So they, even the students recognize how incredibly important it is for networking. And so that event will be something for them, for the students, that's really important, and it's something that CWN can do to give back to the students.
Can I add one thing real quick here?
Yeah.
So, absolutely, what you said, we need each other. I did not have any idea how lonely entrepreneurship can be. And so I realized that in my first couple of years, because not everyone has that same mindset, just like you were talking about. You might have an idea, but when you move on things, then that's highlighting that you're kind of different from the people around you. Some people are comfortable with that 9 to 5, and they're not willing to step out and try something new. So when you are the visionary and you don't have anyone to share with, that can be a lonely space. And so I think that is why networking is so essential, to get around other people that have dreams and goals and vision. And so you're not the only one trying to navigate it all by yourself.
It's all the people that you surround yourself with,
Absolutely.
right? So we need to take a break, but when we come back, how are women maintaining work-life balance and staying healthy? We'll have some tips. Stay with us. Welcome back to Central Georgia Focus. We're joined by Charmaine Turner, the founder of Exalting Wellness, Coaching and Consulting, and Dr. Barbara Rowan, the president of Career Women's Network. Now, women as entrepreneurs sometimes struggle to balance their health, their families, and their business. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. That work-life balance. Ms. Charmaine, how do you help them prioritize their well-being without sacrificing success?
I am a veteran, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. So I learned very early, my mother was in the military as well, that organization is key. And so I feel like that you have to have systems and strategy in place, because otherwise you just have too much going on. It's too much, it can be overwhelming. We see burnout. Sometimes you get so overwhelmed and you just don't move forward when it comes to your business. And so that's where I step in. I help people to create systems in their day-to-day life. Something as simple as making a list and prioritizing what is most important to tackle early in your day. Being proactive when it comes to looking at your week. On Sunday, what can you do to make your week go more smoothly, especially if you have children in the home? I have a 9-year-old, I have an 18-year-old, I have a 24-year-old. And so I am being pulled in several different directions. And then I'm a full-time entrepreneur and in seminary. So I'm a student as well. And so I have to have structure, I have to have organization, I have to have healthy boundaries. And all of those things help me to stay on track, and that is what I teach my clients as well.
It's about making sure you have that balance so that you stay successful,
Absolutely.
right? Now, Miss Barbara, what are some of the most common health challenges you see among female professionals and entrepreneurs?
Health challenges. So one of the things that I see that is very common is burnout. And so, you know, when you see women, professional women burning out in their roles, the health challenges that can lead to, obviously, I mean, there can be very serious ones, heart attacks, high blood pressure, things like that can happen. But you know, I'm not a medical doctor, so obviously I don't treat patients, but I do see a lot of women just struggling to feel their best self. And, you know, that's why, you know, like with the Career Women's Network, one of the things that we focus on within our programming is having people come in on a fairly regular basis. You know, we have a sort of a rotation in place with our programming, but on a fairly regular basis, having people come in to teach us techniques that we can use to help us lower our stress, to help us find ways maybe to practice mindfulness, to find ways to just leave all of that work stress. You know, one of the things that I had to learn to do when I started my own business was to shut it off at the end of the day, to remind myself that if I went to work somewhere, I'd get to leave work. And just because I'm working in my office at my house does not mean that my job owns me. And it seems so simple, right? But I literally would leave my office and close the door at the end of the day. And once that door was closed, I was not allowed to reopen it. And it was hard. It's almost like leaving the house without your cell phone. It was that sort of feeling when I first started that, but I had to do that in order to overcome and better balance or better separate that work home life.
Absolutely.
Because it was in my house. But that's the type of programming that we can offer, you know, at CWN to help us with techniques like that.
And that kind of plays into the whole idea of if you work a job that you love, you never, you know, work a day in your life kind of thing, right? But like you're saying, you know, sometimes that's not completely true. Sometimes you love it so much that you can be so swamped with the work that you love that you're kind of overwhelming yourself, forgetting about yourself, right?
Exactly.
So how can companies create healthier work environments for their employees, both men and women?
I feel like it's along those same lines. When I go and I conduct a workshop, I will say for the last year at every workshop, there has been someone in tears in the workshop because they are burned out. They are overwhelmed. They are, they don't feel supported. They don't feel seen. That is one of the passions for me. I am someone living with a multiple sclerosis diagnosis. And so that's something else that I have to balance, the uncertainty of it. Well, according to the CDC, 6 out of 10 adults is living with at least one chronic illness. So in the workplace, you need to feel supported. You need to feel seen. You need to feel safe. And if we're not creating space for our employees, they're not feeling that. And so they're trying to navigate, like she was saying, high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney disease, multiple sclerosis, all of these things, and still come into the workplace and give 110% and fully focus. That's not realistic. So I go into the workplace and help. My phrase is organizational wellness, because you have to have that. They need to feel like, okay, the culture is safe for me to say I need help, or I need a mental health day, or whatever they might need. You need to have leadership that is emotionally intelligent and I can go and speak to them. And in so many cases, they don't have that. And when they're not supported, they don't stay. So we have to have systems in place. You have to change the workplace culture so that it is safe for your employees and they feel supported.
Structure and stability is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
So we need to take a break, but when we return, we'll continue to honor women and talk about this year's CWN's Women of Achievement honoree. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, this year, the annual Georgia Women of Achievement induction ceremony at the historic Wesleyan College honored Jessie Mae Norman, Georgia's famous opera singer, and Alma Woodsey Thomas, Georgia's amazing artist and art teacher. And this year's Career Women Network also recognized the Macon Judicial Circuit District Attorney, Anita Howard. Before we go, I want to ask you guys one last question about stability and structure, how important that is to the work-life balance. I mean, the detrimental effects of all of that can have a tremendous effect on a person, right? Man or woman.
I would say that considering what we talked about before as far as statistics of people living with chronic illness, it is imperative. This is not something that's optional. It is imperative that you put your health first and that work-life balance is essential for you because the risks are too tremendous. When you don't have that balance, you're literally risking your future, your family, and it can also mean your finances, depending on what kind of diagnosis or physical effects, even mental effects that can come when you don't have that work-life balance. So it's an essential thing. It's not an optional thing. If you're going to have longevity, if you're going to be successful for the long haul, you have to make it a priority.
Has to be a priority.
Absolutely.
Now, we can help you get in touch with your organizations, and if you want to join Career Women Network, here's how to get started. To learn more about the organization or how to join it, here's some contact information on your screen. Go to www.cwnmacon.com. You can also contact Dr. Rowan at the number on your screen. And to find out how to connect with the Exalting Wellness Coaching and Counseling to benefit from the resources offered, here's that information, www.exaltingwellness.com, and Charmaine's email's right there for you as well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on Central Georgia Focus, ladies, and happy Women's History Month to you both.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you so much for watching Central Georgia Focus as well. Have a great day, guys.